Even the best on-ball defenders get beat, but that's not the problem. The problem is what happens next. Because the backbone of any great defense isn't just one lockdown defender, it's the help behind him. Because great defensive teams aren't one player, they're all five. And help defense is what decides whether a possession ends in 2 points or no points at all. So in this video, we're breaking down what real help defense actually is and how you can position yourself to be the anchor your team needs. So let's dive in.
Oh man, what a defensive play. Tremendous defense. Wow.
So what is help defense? It's being in position to protect the rim and take away anything easy. That's really it. It's not flying around gambling or scrambling late. It's about being in position early. Because as I tell my players all the time, if you're in position, well, now you have the freedom to go make a play. But if you're constantly out of position, you won't have those chances. I mean, just watch this clip and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The defender starts the play just 6 to 12 inches out of position, which is ultimately going to be the difference between getting there legally and walling up vertically, or it being a collision and a foul. Now compare it to this clip and look at this player holding the midline early. For those of you who might not know, the midline or help line is an imaginary line that splits the court in half basket to basket. Typically at the high school or college level, this is where your help is going to come from. And because this player is already on the midline, well, the rotation is shorter. He arrives outside the charge circle, gets his chest square to the ball, and is ready to take a charge. Or he could have walled up vertically, or maybe even made a play on the ball. But the difference between these two plays was just where the player started. Because help defense is ultimately a game of inches. And it might not seem like a lot, but so often that's the difference between giving up a layup or committing a foul versus getting there early and getting a defensive stop. But here's what most players don't realize. When you're in a help side position, especially when you're there early like you should be, you're not stuck. You're not a statue waiting to see what happens. I mean, if you're just gonna wait there, we might as well give you a camera and you can get some good shots of the game. Instead, when you're in a help side position, you actually get more freedom to read the play and anticipate. Maybe you cover up a backdoor pass or intercept a pass to the rolling big, or maybe you show your presence to a drive early and you make the driver second guess his decision completely. And even when you have to rotate over and commit to the driver, well, you still have some options in doing that. The first and most important is the help side wall up. This is a skill that turns high percentage layups into tough finishes for the offense. It's all about getting to a spot early, getting vertical, and holding your ground. Physicality is fine as long as you establish position first. And remember the rules, because even if you're stuck in the charge circle, you're still legally able to go vertical without fouling. The second option is the help side charge. Now, these have been tougher to get at the college and pro level because of some rule changes, but at the high school level with no charge circle, there's a lot of plays to be made here, especially if you're in position early and have the courage to go take a charge. Now, if you're longer and more athletic, well, maybe you can rotate over and get some blocks. And there are two block techniques that you need to know when rotating from help. The first is all about blocking the path to the basket, because great shot blockers don't always meet the ball at its highest point, they meet it where it has to go. Often that's right in front of the rim. You'll notice that most of these great shot blockers are jumping almost directly under the basket, only inches from it to protect that space. Now obviously you have to be aware of goaltending, but you're intercepting the spot the ball must pass through. And of course, to execute this block, you really need to be a shot blocking center. That's not necessarily the case for this second technique, which is more of a flyby. That's when you rotate over from help, but attack the outside shoulder, almost scraping past the finisher's back to get to their release point. Instead of intercepting the flight of the ball, you're trying to meet it when it leaves the hand. And this type of block can even be accomplished by smaller players. And finally, we have one more technique to help you when rotating over in help, and honestly, it's my least favorite, but if you're a small, quick, agile guard, maybe you can get some use out of it, and that's the Helpside spear. A risky move, but similar to the flyby block. It requires great timing because instead of contesting the finish or the shot, you're actually spearing through the gather. The downside is this could result in you flying by and offering no help at all, but the upside is a clean steal that can completely flip the possession. But remember, with all these techniques, the key is being in position early, because if you're late, almost none of this is possible. And that doesn't just go for the first Helpside player, it goes for the next rotation as well. Because great defensive teams are built on rotations. If only one player is helping and moving, well, the offense will usually still find an easy layup. And this is why so many players are hesitant or refuse to help, because they don't want their man to score. But that's not what team defense is. Team defense is about preventing the other team from scoring. So when one player helps, well, you need a chain reaction. Someone else needs to help the helper. And you can see in this clip exactly what I'm talking about. The Helpside player comes on the drive to protect the rim, but the next player is right there, physically cracking down on the open player. I like to use the phrase crack down because it's a physical rotation. But notice he doesn't get buried inside the big or underneath him, he sits on the high side, which allows him to be physical, push him out of the play, but still be able to disengage to close out to the three or skip pass, as opposed to getting sealed inside the big and now giving up a kick out three. And of course, this is just the most basic rotation to help the helper. There are many more rotations that make up a great team defense, and we'll talk about those a little later. But let me be more realistic for those watching, because sometimes that second rotation honestly isn't going to get there. And now you're alone between the ball and the rim, and if you commit too early, well, you're going to give up a layup. And if you don't commit at all, well, you're going to give up another layup. So what are you supposed to do? Well, this is where great help defenders separate themselves. Watch this clip of Draymond Green. He's basically in a 2-on-1 situation. But watch how he plays in between, waiting and baiting for the very last second. He's not fully committing to the ball, and he's not frozen in place. He's reading the play. Is this driver looking to finish, or is he looking to pass? And this is what I call the Helpside yo-yo, staying between both options long enough to force a final decision. And when you time it right, well, that could end up in a steal, a great wall up, and really flipping the script on a disadvantaged situation. So even when you're in the worst case scenario, you can still go make a play. And there's one more part that's really hard to convey over film, and that's the fact that help defense takes courage. For starters, you're leaving your man, so you need to trust your teammates behind you. And when you rotate over to go make a play on the ball, well, you might get dunked on. You might get called for a foul. You might rotate perfectly and then have to go sprint to recover on the other side. And a lot of players hesitate for these reasons. They don't want their man to score. They don't want to be on someone's poster. But you need to forget all that, because team defense isn't about your man, and it's not about your ego. It's about getting stops. It's about protecting the rim, and it's about having your teammates back. And when you understand that, well, defense changes. It's 5 players moving together, because of course, great defensive teams have great on-ball defenders, but the backbone is always the help defense. In fact, the more you can trust your help defenders, well, the more aggressive you can be on the perimeter. And we didn't even break down the more advanced rotations like X out, peel switching, and stealing that one more pass. That's a deeper conversation, but if you want to learn even more about how to be the ultimate anchor for your team, well, we go much deeper inside the Lockdown Academy. That's where you'll learn all the rotations and reads and so much more. Your one-stop platform for everything about becoming a lockdown defender. Check it out in the link below to join today. But remember, it all starts with 2 basic concepts: early positioning and unselfish basketball. And of course, having the courage to go make a play. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. As always, I'm Coach Mike for Lockdown Defense. Keep up the hard work.